All right. Welcome back, everybody. This week, we're going to be unpacking, some fresh market analysis.
Fresh off the press.
Yeah, exactly. Fresh off the press.
Hot off the presses.
From mapsignals.com,
.com.
dated November 7th, 2024. So just a couple days ago. They're looking at, what this unexpected GOP sweep in the election might mean for, people who are interested in investing, especially those who are interested in small and mid-cap stocks.
You know, what's fascinating is that the market often reacts in a somewhat predictable way
Oh, really?
to these kinds of political shifts.
So you're saying, like, we can look back and kind of get some insight?
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
Historical patterns.
Gotcha.
And Map Signals is interpreting this GOP sweep
Okay.
as a very, very bullish signal for the market,
Especially in the long term.
particularly over the medium to long term.
I've heard a lot of buzz about this being a risk-on environment now.
Yes.
Can you explain what that means?
Sure. So risk on versus risk off really just comes down to investor psychology.
Yeah.
Risk on means investors are feeling confident, more willing to put their money into things that
Riskier.
might be a little more volatile,
Oh,
but have the potential for higher growth.
So is it like everyone's just suddenly feeling lucky?
It's not exactly lucky, but perhaps a bit more adventurous with their investments.
Okay.
And historically, GOP-controlled governments have coincided with this kind of market sentiment
Interesting.
since 1945, when Republicans have controlled all three, the White House, the Senate, and the House.
Yeah.
The S&P 500 has seen an average annual gain of 12.9%.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah, it's significant.
Yeah.
And this time around, Map Signals is specifically highlighting small and mid-cap stocks,
Okay.
potentially poised for strong growth.
And it's funny because back in March, they actually predicted that small caps would reach all-time highs
That's right.
sooner than expected, and that happened. The S&P Small Cap 600 hit a record high on November 6th, the day after the election. That's right. Which seems like
Not a coincidence.
not a coincidence.
Right.
Yeah. Likely tied to this risk-on environment.
So why are small and mid-cap companies getting so much attention in this particular risk-on environment?
Well, they're often seen as much more agile and adaptable,
Okay.
especially compared to larger companies.
Right.
They can respond to changing economic conditions more quickly.
Makes sense.
And Map Signals analysis mentions the potential for rate cuts,
Okay.
which can benefit smaller companies,
Yeah.
especially if we can avoid a recession.
Can you elaborate on that? Like, why would rate cuts be particularly good for smaller companies?
Smaller companies are typically more sensitive
Okay.
to changes in interest rates.
I see.
So when rates are cut, it becomes cheaper for them to borrow money,
Oh,
which frees up more capital for investments and expansion.
got it. So it's not just about, like, the election results themselves. It's about the ripple effect.
Yeah, the ripple effects and how certain companies might benefit
Precisely.
more than others.
And this reminds me of, what we saw
Yeah.
after the 2016 election,
Another
also a Trump victory.
Trump victory.
There were some parallels in market behavior.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Let's look at what happened in 2016.
No.
1 month after Trump's win, both the S&P Small Cap 600
Okay.
and the S&P Mid Cap 400
Uh-huh.
saw significant gains, 17.8%
Wow.
and 12.1% respectively.
That's crazy.
That far outpaced both the NASDAQ and the S&P 500.
Yeah. So, that's a pretty compelling argument for, really paying attention
Right.
to what smaller companies are doing.
Exactly.
Man.
And that outperformance continued
Oh, really?
for at least 3 months
Wow.
after the 2016 election.
Right.
They just kept climbing.
So the question is, why might we be seeing this pattern repeat itself?
Right.
And what could it mean for, the average investor?
Yeah. What could it mean for your investment strategy in the coming year?
That's a great question.
One possible explanation is the types of policies
Okay.
typically associated with GOP administration.
So, what kind of policies are we talking about, and how could they impact,
Sure.
the performance of these companies?
Things like deregulation and tax cuts.
Okay.
These can create an environment that is very beneficial for smaller businesses,
Okay. I see.
less regulatory burden, and potentially more capital to invest in growth.
So you're saying it's not just, investor sentiment.
It's not just sentiment.
There could be tangible policy changes.
Right. Yeah.
That could contribute to this.
So this small cap surge.
Exactly. And remember, this is all happening
Yeah.
against this backdrop of this broader risk-on rally.
Right. Okay.
So Investors are looking for places to put their money,
Yeah.
and small caps, with their potential for growth and this potentially favorable policy environment, are looking pretty attractive. Yeah, it does seem like a lot of things are aligning right now that could create,
A lot of factors are aligning.
yeah, some really unique opportunities.
Yeah.
But, let's play devil's advocate for a second. Aren't there always risks associated with
Sure.
this risk-on mentality? I mean, it can't all be sunshine and roses, right?
You're absolutely right. Risk-on rallies, by their nature,
Yeah.
can be volatile.
Oh, okay.
And if something unexpected happens, like some geopolitical event or an economic downturn,
Right.
investor sentiment can shift back to risk-off very quickly.
So essentially, like, people pull their money out
Yeah, they head for safer
or
ground.
go to something a little bit more.
Exactly. There are
Yeah.
no guarantees in the market.
Right.
But understanding these patterns, current sentiment, the potential impact of upcoming policy changes,
Right.
can help you make more informed decisions.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, this GOP sweep has, like, potentially created some really exciting opportunities.
Yeah, especially in the small cap, mid cap
Space.
But you're saying, as with any investment, there's inherent risk,
Always.
and it's crucial to be aware of that.
Absolutely.
I see.
This is not investment advice.
Right.
This is just equipping you with knowledge.
So you can make an informed decision.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And Map Signals goes a step further.
Okay.
They suggest that certain sectors are attracting significant institutional support.
Now, this is where I get a little greedy. Could you give us any hints?
I can't give you specifics, but I can tell you they're looking at what are called cyclical sectors.
Okay, remind us what those are.
Cyclical sectors are those that tend to perform well when the economy is growing.
Okay.
Think of industries that benefit from increased consumer spending, infrastructure.
Okay, so things that are going to be going up
Exactly.
when the economy is good.
And that's where tools like Map Signals
Yeah.
come in.
Yeah.
They help you pinpoint
Okay.
the companies within those sectors,
Gotcha.
showing the strong institutional buying signals. It's like a map to help you navigate this crazy world.
Exactly.
All right, so let's synthesize all this information, right? What are the key takeaways
Okay.
from this deep dive?
I would say, first and foremost, this GOP sweep could translate into some unique market opportunities,
Okay.
especially for those interested in small and mid-cap stocks.
Okay.
Secondly, while this represents an exciting potential for growth,
Yeah,
it's important to remember there's always inherent risk in the market.
of course.
And finally, understanding the broader economic and policy landscape,
Yeah.
and potentially using tools like map signals
Yes.
can be invaluable.
For making informed decisions.
That's right.
Okay, those are all great points. Now, before we wrap up, I have a final thought for our listeners.
Okay.
We've been focusing a lot on, the potential for growth
Uh-huh.
in certain sectors. But could this surge in smaller companies actually lead to, like innovation
Interesting.
and economic growth in like unexpected areas?
It's a very interesting question.
What if all this capital and all this, sort of freedom to innovate leads to the next wave of technological advancements or even like completely new industries
That's right.
we can't even imagine yet?
So while we're watching the stock market,
Yeah,
it's important to keep an eye on those smaller companies.
those hidden gems
Exactly.
that might be shaping the future.
That's right.
I love that.
Yeah.
This is just the starting point for thinking about, how this
Right.
unexpected election outcome might reshape the market.
And why it's so important to stay curious.
Yeah.
Keep asking questions.
Be willing to explore the unknown.
Exactly.
I love it.
Often those are the people that benefit the most.
Couldn't agree more. All right, so we've explored some potential opportunities
Yeah.
associated with this new risk-on environment. But what does that actually mean for you?
Right.
Practically. How can you leverage this information
Yeah.
to make informed decisions
Good question.
about your own portfolio? We'll dive into that right after this. Stay tuned.
All right. It's like somebody hit the fast forward button
Yeah.
on the market, remember, history often rhymes, if not repeats itself perfectly.
Right.
The parallels to 2016 are pretty hard to ignore.
Yeah, it's almost like we've got a playbook from last time.
Right.
But here's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
What can the average person out there listening, what can they actually do?
Right. That's where the rubber meets the road.
Yeah.
So first of all, don't panic.
Okay.
Big market shifts can be unsettling.
Right.
Knee-jerk reactions are rarely beneficial.
Well, okay, so stay calm.
Yeah, take a deep breath.
What's next?
Take a look at your current investment strategy.
Okay.
Does it align with this new risk-on environment?
Okay.
Are you positioned to benefit from um, this potential surge
In small companies.
in smaller companies? Yeah.
And if not, what then?
It might be a good time to revisit your goals, your risk tolerance.
Okay.
Consider whether your portfolio needs adjusting.
Yeah. So should people be like actively looking at making changes right now?
It might be a good time
Okay.
to at least reassess.
Okay.
Maybe you want to increase your exposure to companies that are a bit smaller,
Yeah.
or perhaps explore specific sectors that are showing strength.
So basically, knowledge is power, right?
Always.
Okay.
The more you understand what's driving the market,
Huh.
the better you're going to be.
The better decisions you'll make.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
That align with your financial goals.
And hey, even if you're not ready to you know, make any big moves or anything,
Right.
it's still pretty fascinating to watch how this all unfolds,
Oh, absolutely.
like a real-time economics lesson.
Absolutely. You're seeing it play out.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe this surge in smaller companies will lead to some
Yeah.
really groundbreaking innovations
Yeah.
that benefit us all in unexpected ways.
That's so true. Because, I mean, you think about it, a lot of the biggest companies today started as, small startups.
Tiny little companies.
Absolutely.
So it's like, keep your eyes peeled.
That's right.
The next big thing might be brewing in a company you've never even heard of.
Exactly.
And that's why we do this, right?
That's right.
This deep dive.
Yeah.
It's all about those
Uncovering those gems.
hidden gems of knowledge
That's it.
and insight.
Absolutely.
And don't forget, there's always more to learn. Always.
Stay curious.
Yes.
Stay informed. And as always, invest wisely.
Love it.
Yeah.
Until next time. So we've explored the potential opportunities associated with this new risk-on environment, particularly for small and mid-cap stocks. But what does that mean for you practically? How can you actually use this information to make informed decisions about your own portfolio?
That's the key question, right? How do we translate these insights into action?
Exactly. It's all well and good to understand the trends, the historical patterns, the potential impact of policy changes. But what are the steps that you can take to potentially benefit from this? First and foremost, don't panic. Big market shifts can be unsettling, but knee-jerk reactions rarely beneficial.
Right. Okay. So stay calm.
Take a look at your current investment strategy. Ask yourself, does it align with this new risk-on environment? Are you positioned to benefit from a surge in smaller companies, those small and mid-cap stocks we've been talking about?
Right. And if not, then what is it time to maybe shake things up a little bit?
It might be a good time to revisit your investment goals, your risk tolerance, and really consider whether your portfolio needs adjusting. Maybe you want to increase your exposure to smaller companies or perhaps explore specific sectors that are showing strength.
So knowledge is power. The more you understand about what's driving the market, the better equipped you are to make decisions that align with your goals.
Absolutely. And remember, this isn't about blindly following trends. It's about understanding the forces at play and making informed choices that are right for you.
And hey, even if you're not ready to make any big moves or anything, it's still fascinating to kind of watch how this all unfolds. It's like a real-time economics lesson.
It is. And, who knows? Maybe this surge in smaller companies will lead to some truly groundbreaking innovations that benefit us all in unexpected ways. I mean, some of the biggest companies today started out as small, innovative startups.
That's right. So keep your eyes peeled, folks. The next big thing might just be brewing in a company you've never even heard of. And that's why we do this deep dive, to uncover those hidden gems of knowledge and insight that can help you make smarter decisions, not just about investing, but about life in general.
And don't forget, there's always more to learn. Stay curious, stay informed, and as always, invest wisely.
Beautifully said. Well, that wraps up another deep dive. We hope you found this exploration of the post-election market landscape insightful and empowering. And remember, while we can analyze the trends and make educated guesses, the future is ultimately unwritten. Who knows what exciting innovations or market shifts might be just around the corner?
That's the beauty of it all, isn't it? The constant potential for change and for discovery.
Absolutely. And on that note, we'll leave you with this as you consider your own investment strategy. Think about those sectors. Map Signals is highlighting, could those be the breeding grounds for the next wave of groundbreaking companies, the ones that will shape the future? And if so, how might you position yourself to potentially benefit from their success?
Great questions to ponder.
Indeed. So until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep on Parter.